everyone, Emily here from Emily's Excellent Epics, and today I have for you my August reading wrap-up. But before I do that, I'm going to go into some stats. So I read, oh rats, this is what I have to do. I have to flip back and forth in my planner. I apologize. I should have been much better prepared. Side comment while I'm flipping. I do have my windows open. If you hear the cicadas going, I apologize. I also live by a busy street, so you might hear sirens or motorcyclists. I apologize for that. It is finally beautiful out. And not only is it beautiful weather out, like it's not 115 degrees heat index. Not only is it beautiful weather out, but like the air quality is finally good, and I have asthma, so if the air quality is bad, the windows are closed. I can finally have the windows open, so I want to keep them open if I can. So, some reading stats. I read 9 books this month. That's for a total of 3,512 pages total this month. So, my books have been like about 350 pages average. Now, I know, where are the epics here? In the summer, I tried to like crank out books. Meaning trying to knock down as many off of my TBR as I can. So there's that, and then reading slump hit towards the end of the month, where I was reading like 10 pages a day. I was happy if I hit 20 the last 2 weeks of August. I almost said October there. Whoops. So I read 9 books, 3,512 pages. My best book was Know My Name. I read fantasy romance, nonfiction romance, fantasy, cozy mystery. Did I read anything else? Nope. At the beginning of the month, I had 752 owned. I did unhaul some books, so that's great, but I also hauled 18 books, I believe. Maybe less than that. I don't know, slightly less than that. But now I have 758 owned. So that went up. The number of read books stayed the same, 326. Go figure that. 430. At the beginning of the month, I had 426 unread books. I now have 432. Given the fact that I think I hauled 18 books this month, like the fact that I was able to unhaul some books and then keep that unread book going up by only 6, I will take that. But that does mean that my percent unread went from 56.65% of my total owned books are unread. That percentage went up to 56.99%. So not the direction that I wanted, but hopefully September will slow down. Well, who am I kidding? September might not slow down. I have already ordered my book of the month, and it's my birthday month in September, so I got a free book, and I did order Aardvark, and I got a birthday gift in the mail, and it's like double points for members at Barnes & Noble, and 50% off some hardbacks, so I might be going to Barnes & Noble later today. So, we did a little damage, but it's okay, it's okay. So and also just another fun, interesting stat. I was like, where am I at year-to-date wise? So my goal, I typically try to read 100 books a year, but with Herkhead, our hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, 2.0, I'm going to have to up my game because I have over 100 pages or 100 books I'm going to have to read. So far this year, I've read 83 books. So that's amazing, given the fact that we still have 4 months left in the year. I've read 31,162 pages. So the average page per book is 375. Where are the epics? Well, I haven't finished Throne of Glass or started Crescent City. They will come, and I still need to read Wind and Truth. It will happen, so never fear. But let's get started with what I've read. So this is going to be a little bit of juggling. I appreciate patience. I've got my reading planner, my always fully booked reading planner. So this is just my straight up planner. And then it also has like book reviews and how I plan my reading. And then I have another blank journal where I track my hardest reading challenge. So, and that will track like what I've read and the prompts that I've used it for. So I'm juggling between books and my planners. So I will do my best. All right. So first up this month, I read Night and the Moth and by Rachel Gillig. And I fell for the hype. I fell for the pretty sprayed edge, which looks a little wonky now because I did tab it. But I don't know. I will probably take out some of those tabs. I gave this one a 3.5 star. And I fluctuate with that reading. So in this, we follow Sybil, who she actually goes by the number 6. They're not really allowed to have names. And she is a diviner. I was like, what is the name? She's a diviner. And one day the king and his knights come to the cathedral where she works at. The king asks for like a vision from her. And so she gives it to him. And she meets one of the knights. His name is Rory. And from there, a quest ensues. And it's very much gothic fantasy. What I liked about this book, there is a sentient gargoyle, and he just calls everyone Bartholomew. I loved him so much. And I loved the relationship that he has with Sybil. I loved the banter that he brought in. And now some people felt that there was too much banter. I did not feel that. I liked the amount of banter. And here's why. In anything that's like dark and foreboding, which Gothic for sure is, you need levity as well. Like Shakespeare did levity in his tragedies. I mean, Romeo and Juliet was the nurse. In Hamlet, it was the grave digger. You know, like there has to be levity. Was it a little too much? Maybe. But I love the relationship that he had with Sybil. There was a part of me that enjoyed the predictability-ness of this book and being able to figure things out. However, I felt like it was very predictable. I saw one of the twists at the end like a mile coming. Another thing that has me negative towards this book is like I liked the relationship between the gargoyle and Sybil more. Like, and I was more invested in that relationship than I was between Sybil and Rory. Like, that is our main romantic relationship in a fantasy romance. You should be very invested in that. I was not as much as I was in her relationship with the gargoyle. So, yeah. Will I consider reading the next book? Yes. I was invested enough in this to want to continue on in this world. Was this a 5-star read? No. Should you read it? If you go into this with the right expectations, then yes. I would not read this. I would not go into this thinking this is going to be a 5-star read. I would say go into this with the expectation of like, this is a 3-star read. And 3 is not bad. 3 is good in my rating scales. But it's not great. It's not like 5 is like, oh, it's awesome. 4 is like, it was really good. 3 is like, it was good. So I would say it was that. Are there any other thoughts that I'm missing? I do like there were some interesting lines that had some heavy themes, and I did appreciate those as well. What I used this for in Herkhead, let me find. I use this for the even bigger rainbow. I use this for like, I think silver on the cover. It looks kind of gray, but like, I don't know, this is silver. Like armor is silver. So that's how I use this. And then I also use this for like the readathon challenge one. I'm still trying to finish up, like I have to do all of the prompts for catch-up-a-thon. So I use this for the readathon. Then I read Know My Name by Chanel Miller. And like I paused because I feel very odd and weird about giving this a star rating, given this is someone's memoir and someone's life, and also given the fact of the subject matter. She was essayed by the swimmer at Stanford, and when she was drunk to the point where she was blackout drunk, and two foreign foreign studies students, they're Swedish, they happened to be riding on their bikes past the crime and stopped the assailant and held him while police arrived. And so this is her memoir of the incident, and then also through the dealing with the trauma of it, and then dealing with the justice system and trying to get justice for the crime. So I'm not going to give a 5-star based on the contents of the book. I'm giving 5 stars based because it just seems weird to me to give a star rating for someone's story. So when I say I'm giving this a 5-star rating, I'm giving it because I thought her writing was beautiful and raw and poignant, and all of the emotions were felt while reading this book. I think this is an important read and that it needs to be read. Of course, understand your triggers, knowing the subject matter. And I'm very glad that Herked has made me read this book. Like I planned on reading it anyway. It was on my TBR, but it helped me to prioritize this because I don't gravitate toward nonfiction. So I'm really glad that I did gravitate toward this and read this finally, as it was phenomenal. I know Chanel Miller wrote a children's book. I sure hope she writes more books in the future, as I think her sense of voice, her writing, the lyricism of it, the power of it is excellent, and I think she needs to write more. What I use this for the readathon challenge. I think it was like a page number. And then I also use this for the nonfiction challenge in Herked, the nonfiction square. Then I read, I'm going to turn, there we go, my journal page so I know what I'm looking at. Then I read A Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I needed to finish this because I've been sitting on this library book ever since I finished it. I have not returned it, so I can't do that now. And this is about Maya Kilgore, and her older brother is getting married, and we're talking older. We're talking about a pretty significant age gap. He is getting married in Italy. They're just doing a destination wedding, and so he invites, everyone's there for the wedding, and she has been in love with her brother's business partner ever since she had a breakup in college. And Connor is his name. And Connor has been saying, no, like, we cannot be involved, as this is a problematic power dynamic because of my age. I have money. You're a college student and don't have money, and like I'm a business partner with your brother, and I'm friends with your brother. Sorry, I got distracted. I heard a bang. My neighbors are moving out, so I hopefully they haven't been too bad, but hopefully you're not hearing anything. So, what I liked about this, this actually, so the brother who's getting married, the brother and his fiance slash wife, they are the main characters from Not in Love. I did not care for Not in Love. I thought Not in Love just didn't know what it was. Like, it had leanings towards a rom-com, but she was like, this is not a rom-com. It was more of a dark erotic romance. And so, like, I felt like Not in Love just didn't know what it was. I liked this significantly better than Not in Love. Because in this book, they take the time to develop the relationship, to develop the backstory behind why are their feelings there for each other. He's a little controlling, which is kind of problematic. But I think he learns to not be so controlling. And I do love an age gap. I do. And this was an age gap done pretty well. So I gave this one 4 stars. For Herkhead, I use this for the Even Bigger Rainbow. This is 7+ colors on it. And yes, I'm using shades of colors. And then I did this for the last 10 years. This came out in 2025. Okay. And then I read Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This is book 2 in the Legendborn series. We follow Bree Matthews, who is studying at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. As part of she's in high school, but she's able to study there as part of a advanced studies program. And she gets drawn into the world, a secret society centered around Arthurian legend. And also she learns about root magic, which is from her African ancestry. And this deals with also issues that relate to the impact that slavery has had on people. And yeah, I really like this one. This was a 4-star read. Nope. Take that back. This is a 4.5-star read. I need more of Cell and Cell is like a Merlin type character. He's a wizard. And the implications of Cell and some of the relationships that he has in this book. I really like him. However, what I didn't think through, and what it dawned on me on this reread, and it didn't bother me in Legendborn, and even when I reread Legendborn recently, it didn't dawn on me until this book. So Bree develops a romantic relationship with Nick, who's part of the Arthurian secret society. She develops this relationship with him, and in the first book, she's 16. These are college students. They're not part of the high school. They're part of the college. She's 16. They're 18. They're 18. She turns 17 at the start of this book. Now, in Illinois, where I live, 17 is the age of consent. But in all of Legendborn, at the start of this book, she's 16. And fortunately, some relationships did not go far. So that's fortunately for the males in this book, because she was not at the age of consent. So that is problematic, and for that reason, it's not I can't give 5 stars to these books, because to me that's problematic and red flags. I also did not care for the ending of this book, with the implications revolved around Arthur and what happens there. So I can't say spoiler reasons, but I'm looking forward to reading Oathbound. I need to get to Oathbound. Probably not. It's not probably not going to happen in September, so it's going to be a higher priority read in October. Okay, moving on. The next book was Well, Actually. Well, by Maisie Eddings. And well, actually, it was okay. This is actually going to be an unhaul. I gave it a 2.5 stars. I was jiving with it. I was enjoying it. We follow. Oh, I have to back up. One thought about Bloodmarked. I used it for By the 100s in a TBR game that I played. Yes, it is a reread, but I'm like the spreadsheet. I don't know how it's calculating the points because I feel like I'm able to use more rereads than I'm supposed to, but I'm following what the spreadsheet tells me that I have and that I can do. So, and I didn't create the spreadsheet. So, sorry. Now let's back. Sorry to interrupt the regularly scheduled programming. Now we're going to go back to, well, actually. I gave this 2.5 stars. So we follow, so Eva Kitt is like, she hosts this like radio show or like YouTube channel, whatever. It's called Sausage Talk. So she interviews like B-list celebrities while also eating hot dogs. And it's put like, and she confronts and meets, and she makes like a drunken Instagram post where she's upset about this guy that she dated briefly in college, Riley Cooper. And he has a podcast that deals with deconstructing toxic masculinity. And so they agree to go on a series of dates while he tries to change her opinion on men. And she is just, I mean, she's like, she insists that like, oh, it meant nothing. Like this relationship in college meant nothing. But like she has hung on to it for like 6 years and held on to that bitterness for that long. In addition, she's just mean to him. What I also did not like is that, and I almost DNF'd this book when I read this. I'm trying to find the exact quote. Where did it go? Shoot, where did it go? I had it. Okay, so she makes this statement, and I think she was trying to be funny. So, but it did not, to me, I did not read it as funny. And then I'll also explain why else I think it's problematic. So she goes, okay, so she says, oh God, do I actually like talking to Riley Cooper? Have I not done anything to cure this terrible affliction in the past 6 years? I must be more mentally ill than I realized. It's an offhand comment, but there's so much stigma around mental illness. To me, that's not something that you just make an offhand comment as like a joke. And I felt like that's what's kind of what she was trying to do, is like to make it out of a joke, which is weird and problematic, especially when the author bio says that she's made it her personal mission in life to destigmatize mental health issues. I almost DNF'd the book at that. So that's why I'm only giving this 2.5 stars. And why this is going in my Pango shop, because I couldn't. It did get a little bit better, but that comment just made me so angry. Um, what I use this for her kid, I use this for the queer alphabet. He is bisexual, she is pansexual. So I used it for that prompt. And then I also use this for a new release because this did come out in August. So, and then I read Case of the Blues by Karina Moss. This was part of a read-along that we have been doing on Tiffany's channel over at Beach Bum Bookworm. And there is a spoilery discussion chat over on her channel with Karina Moss. So that has been delightful. This is book 4 in the Cheese Shop Murder Mystery. So I'm not going to go too much into it because, again, I don't want to do spoilers. But with this, we follow Willa, who she has some friends that are visiting as part of this like cheese festival that's centered around the cheese that her mentor Max Dumas he invented this blue cheese that's like, whoo, everybody, it's such a good blue cheese. I don't know why I did that. But it's such a really good blue cheese. And like he's got this secret where it's made, and who is he going to leave the secret to? And someone gets murdered, and they have to solve the murder. Go watch that discussion if you want to know more. I did enjoy this. I did guess one of the things, one of the clues, one of the big plot points, but I did not guess like who the murderer is, what their motivation was. I don't think Max was a really good person based on how he treated people and who he had employed at his store. They weren't good people either. I do appreciate Heath. I didn't throw the book across the room as people predicted that I would. I do appreciate what Heath did at the end of the book at first, but then he kind of ghosted Willa, and I did not appreciate that. What I used this for in Herkhead, star rating was 4.5 stars. What I use this for, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my journal over here. This was a secret prompt book. So in August, or every month, there are secret prompts that Cordy will announce on her channel. So in August, we had to read a book with a pun in the title. And if we did that, then we would be able to triple up our books. So that was for that. And then I also use this for the series Stairway and By the 100s. And then I read Elatsoe by Darcy Little Badger. And this was interesting. Also, I have to say, this book is so high quality. Like the paper, like it's a heavy book for it not being a long book, but the pages are super thick, super nice. Like we have a pretty nice hardback book. This one is like a fantasy mystery where we follow Elatsoe and her cousin. His ghost appears to her and basically tells her to like warns her off about this man who I cannot remember his name now. I think his name was Abraham. And she's able to talk to ghosts and has like her dog as a ghost companion now. And so she goes and travels to try to find out like how did her cousin die. Because they're being told he died in a car accident, but is that really what happened? I like this book. I like that the world where the magic exists, it just is. There's not really like we need to explain how everything is and people are like taken aback by magic. It's just there and it's not something that has to be hidden. It's just part of their world. The ending gets a little unhinged and I didn't care for that, like just over the top unhinged. Sometimes I felt like, so her grandmother, her sixth great grandmother also was a massively talented ghost talker, and sometimes those stories about her kind of pulled me out of the story. But I did give this 4 stars. I do recommend it. Would I read this again? Probably not. It will go in my Pango shop. Not because I think this is a bad book. I enjoyed it. I just know that I'm not going to reread this. So, and I do want someone else to enjoy it. I use this for Herkhead, the queer alphabet. She identifies as asexual. And then I also use this for BIPOC. So there's that. And then I read Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese, or Lais. I don't know how to pronounce the name. So this follows Jamie Westenberg. He deals with anxiety. And we follow B. Wilmot, who is autistic. And they don't really have anything in common. Well, but they find out that they actually have more than they thought. But they meet at a party that B's sister Jules is holding along with her boyfriend. And Jules' boyfriend happens to be Jamie's roommate. And they meet there, and Jules and Jamie are like Jules and her boyfriend are like throwing Jamie at each other, but they're not getting off to a good start. And so to get their loved ones off of their back, they say, okay, cool, like let's fake date. This is a modern retelling of Much Ado About Nothing. I did really enjoy it. Spice level wise, it's pretty spicy. I would say 4 out of 5. Trying to think. There were a lot of red flags in Jules' relationship with her boyfriend. So just be aware. Trigger warning for like very controlling, manipulative, emotionally abusive, verbally abusive boyfriend. I gave it 4 stars. What did I use this for? For Herkhead, I used this for the disability representation with the autism and anxiety. And then Herkhead 1.0 prompt, which was the prompt that I'm using from Herkhead 1.0 is buying books off from a garage sale, and I purchased this off of Pango. Finally, I read Rebirth the Gates by Sabah Tahir. And this is book 3 out of 4 in the Ember and the Ashes series. I really loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. So in this book, I almost said something that would be spoilery. We get more backstories on certain key players who are not Leia, Helene, or Elias. We get backstories for other characters that are pivotal and important to know for the progression of the story. There are for sure some heartbreaking moments. And that doesn't necessarily involve deaths of characters, just heartbreaking moments because there are things that have to happen for the world to exist the way that it does. I am so excited to continue with book 4 because this is the first time I've reread Rebirth the Gates and Sky Beyond the Storm. What I used this for, I did count. I mean, yes, it was a reread. I did turn in points to count it as a reread. That's why I'm going, how am I able to earn these rereads so quickly? I don't know. I think there's something wonky with this spreadsheet, but I'm going to use it to my advantage. I use this for By the 100s. I'm not quite sure what else I could use it for. So I don't know. But yeah, it's yeah, it's such a good series. I'm so excited that more people are reading it. So, phew, sorry that was a longer video, but I wanted to get this done. I want to post the books on my Pango shop. I keep my books that I've read actually like in a pile next to my sofa, and I have them stacked in order that I read them in the month. And so I need to move that and put them on my shelves so that way, one, I could clean, and two, so that way I could start putting books that I'm reading in September, because hopefully I'll read some books quickly. So let me know what your thoughts are on any of these books. What has been your favorite book this month? I forgot to add the book of the month for this month for me was Know My Name. I am doing a book bracket to see like what was my favorite book of the year. Know My Name is my favorite so far. I've got a conundrum, a problem that I'm dealing with the bracket, in that I have to choose between Frozen River and Rhythm of War. Like, they're competing against each other just based on because of how the book bracket worked out. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm still like, I read both of those at the beginning of the year, and I'm still thinking through like which one should beat the other one out, and I just don't know. Like, I wish I could give a tie. I gotta pick one and I don't know. So, I know, in your comments down below, vote on what I should pick as a winner. Rhythm of War or Frozen River. I just don't know. I hope you're able to enjoy, if you have Labor Day off, I hope you're able to enjoy your 3-day weekend, and blessings. Bye.